So, welcome everyone to today's webinar on ElevenLabs Conversational AI platform. So we're thrilled to give you a sneak peek and have you join us as we dive into this exciting and transformative technology. Now, conversational AI is revolutionizing how businesses engage with their customers, delivering smarter, faster, and more personalized interactions. In this session, we'll explore how ElevenLabs Conversational AI platform takes innovation to the new level, generating from seamlessly converting speech to text, generating intelligent responses, and delivering premium voice quality outputs. This platform streamlines workflows, enhances user engagement, and empowers teams to create memorable customer experiences. Now, our goal today is to equip you with actionable insights, real-world use cases, and a clear understanding of how ElevenLabs can help redefine your approach to customer engagement, operational efficiency, and AI-powered communication. So with that in mind, let's get started. So today's session will be led by me alongside two of our top engineers who have been deeply involved in developing the product we'll be showcasing today, Hikmet and Jozef. In terms of the agenda, we'll do a very brief introduction to conversational AI at a high level, and then we'll be able to see the conversational AI platform in action as demoed by Hikmet. And finally, we'll do some practical application, or rather we'll showcase some of the practical applications of the Convo AI platform before ending with a Q&A session. Now, some housekeeping before we get started. So this webinar will run for approximately 45 minutes. During that time, feel free to drop any questions that you might have in the questions section. You can find it in the bottom right-hand corner. So we'll be answering some of them during the session itself and some of them during the Q&A part of the session. We'll also periodically drop some poll questions, so please to respond to them. And this webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be shared with you after the session. And any technical issues that you might have, feel free to reach out in the chat. So, ElevenLabs Conversational AI is a platform for deploying customized conversational voice agents. Built in response to our customers' needs, our platform eliminates months of development time, typically spent on building conversation stacks from scratch. Now, the platform combines three key components: the speech to text portion, the language models, and finally, the text to speech, using a more human analogy, the ears, the brain, and the mouth. Now, with the platform, you'll be able to get production in a matter of hours instead of months, and bring your own business logic to the mix should you choose to do so, and also get real-time analytics from the conversations your users or customers are having. Now, with that brief overture, I leave the floor to Hikmet and Jozef, who will be showing us what that looks like in practice. Take it away, guys.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a lot, Bogdan. So yeah, I will just do a very quick intro on basically the platform that we have built, and just like highlight a few key kind of considerations and key points of conversational AI from ElevenLabs, which we try to kind of like focus on while developing the product over the last almost a year, and then yeah, Hikmet will go ahead and show the demo. So basically, when you go on our landing page, you can kind of like here kind of like all the points are kind of mostly highlighted, but I just say a little bit more. So what basically conversational AI in a nutshell is like combining the three crucial steps, which is speech to text, then the brain or agent, which is the LLM, which can have some kind of function calling, some kind of knowledge base, and so on, which can be also like either custom one that you can plug in, or it can be Gemini, it can be Claude, it can be whatever you want, and then the text to speech, which ElevenLabs is very famous for, into a single product. And here are kind of like 9 things that are kind of like highlights of what we try to achieve. So one thing is like low latency. because we are kind of vertically integrated, we self-host the transcription service. So from speech to text, we self-host the text-to-speech part. We self-host the turn-taking, the orchestration, the interruption, and the voice activity. And we only make a single call for the LLM. We are vertically integrated, and that's why we can kind of achieve a very low latency. Also, in our implementation, we will really try to focus on having very high quality. At the same time, it's not like low latency at all costs. Like, for example, when we know that the user, let's say, is thinking, we actually try to give time, and this will also like improve as this product will mature, give the user time to think and not really like jump into their thoughts. And that's basically this advanced turn taking. So as we have a strong research background, we try to solve this in a more researchy way to really provide as much as human-like conversations with AI agents. Then you can bring any LLM. So yeah, just as I mentioned, there is a lot of flexibility. You can bring your custom open AI API protocol supported LLM as well. We support external function calling and like stuff around that, as for example, we try to optimize the experience to be natural, even when, let's say, there is a longer timeout for a function call. We support all the library voices, or like most of the library voices that are on the ElevenLabs platform. You can directly use them in the Convey agents, and you can also fully audit any calls that you made. So, for example, if some user gives you a thumbs down button for thumbs down for some response, you can see in the transcription at which point during the audio the user didn't like the response, and then you can investigate why that happens. Convey is also fully multilingual, so we support 31 languages based on V2 or V2.5 text-to-speech model. And the latest upgrade is the native Twilio integration. So you can bring in your Twilio numbers, which will be natively integrated into the Conveyor platform to handle your incoming calls. So that's kind of a brief overview. If you would have more like technical questions of what we are trying to achieve here going forward, we can answer them at the end. And now I will give back the stage to Hikmet, who will actually show you the platform.
Thank you very much, Jozef. And just to see what we mentioned, everything in real life, I will share you today with 2 demos. One of them will be more focused and very similar to what we actually deployed on our documentation page, live support agents for the ElevenLabs. In this case, just to go over the platform very quickly, you are able to define your agent language in here. We support 31 languages. And for the first message, this is the message what the agent will say when it opens the platform, and then you define your system prompt. And in here, we also pass the knowledge base, basically some knowledge base from our documentation. These are some information around the conversation AI. You are able to add multiple different knowledge base, whether you can drag and drop a file in multiple different formats, or you can just pass a URL to your web page or your help desk or wherever you want to retrieve information, and we will scrape it. Or you can just copy paste your knowledge in here. In here, we provided some both documents, copy paste, and the URLs as well, and it's extract information for us. And let's go and actually test our AI agents in here.
Hi, this is Eric from ElevenLabs support. How can I help you today?
Hey, Eric, can you give me some information around ElevenLabs products?
Certainly. ElevenLabs offers a range of products centered around voice technology. Our core offerings include text-to-speech, which transforms text into realistic speech, and speech-to-speech, which changes a source voice to another while maintaining its original characteristics.
Actually,
we also have a sound effects
generator. Can you talk me a
generator.
bit more about the conversation AI? I heard it's the new product.
ElevenLabs Conversational AI is a platform designed to deploy customized conversational voice agents quickly. It combines 3 key components: converting spoken language into text, processing, and understanding context to generate intelligent responses, and transforming text responses into natural-sounding speech. This platform is ideal for creating AI.
And what's your pricing model, or like how much does it cost?
The pricing for ElevenLabs Conversational AI, which is currently in beta, involves credits for usage. During the beta period, setup and prompt testing cost 500 credits per minute, while production usage is 1,000 credits per minute.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. That's all for today.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions in the future, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Okay, as you can see, like these are some information we provided from our ElevenLabs page. I can also quickly show it. These are the information where it was able to basically provide the usage pricing page, and we also provided the product page where it was able to pull the text-to-speech, speech API, and etc. And it was able to understand this information and use it when it's answering for us. And if we go back, we also added some evaluation and data collection. Basically, you can use these evaluation criteria to understand how each conversation went. So, for example, we were checking whether the conversation was positive or negative. Did we solve the user inquiry? And we also asked to make some data collection related with what was the issue type and what was the product category where it was asking. And if you go to conversation, actually, we are able to see here, first of all, the entire conversation itself. You can replay or download the audio. You will be able to see the summary of the conversation and what was it about. And you will see in here your criteria evaluation and data collection types as well. Similarly, if you go to the transcription, you will here see the entire transcription, and you are also able to see the interruptions are happening actually. Like when I talk over the agent itself, the agent is stopped speaking and start listening to me. So we are able to recreate the smooth transition of the human language and human speaking with the turn taking and interruptions, as you can see here. And if we go to, again here back, you are also able to deploy this product in different formats. For example, if you visit our webpage again, you will be able to see in here, like we deployed our conversation agent as a starter call, as a widget. Similarly, if you want to deploy your agent over your website or at different places, you are also able to deploy it as a small widget, and you are able to customize this widget as you want in different formats. And similarly, you can change the name, type, and the image in here. Before going into second demo, I would like to check if there's any questions.
Yeah, I think we have a couple. So the first one is from Bilal, and is there any way to provide the system prompt as a template with placeholders that can be filled out for each conversation? So for example, user's full name.
Yes, so we have a functionality called conversation configurations, which means basically for each configuration, let's say you define an agent, and for each conversation, you are able to overwrite the entire prompt. So let's say you want to change the username over there, and you know the username or the telephone number or some information. You can pass that per conversation without needing to recreate each time the agent. So you can customize your agent per conversation.
Perfect. And then the second one is from Matthew. What is the architecture?
Maybe sorry, but I would just add that variable injection is also coming. So one way is to override the prompt. You can just do whatever you want, and if you just want to kind of maybe it's a little bit safer that you keep some prompts fixed, and you can only, let's say, replace some part that is coming to this one.
Fantastic. That was news to me as well, everyone. So this is very good news. So question from Matthew, what is the architecture for the knowledge bases?
Currently, we have actually, Joseph, you want to take this?
Yes. So basically, currently, you can upload any file or URL and just copy paste anything you want, and then it's kind of, at the moment, it's just kind of like fully feeding into the agent. Going forward, we will deploy a custom rack solution, which will make some kind of which will give you some kind of optionality on like, okay, what do you want to feed to the agent? When do you want to use RAG? When do you want to split your knowledge base into, let's say, 2 agents? Like one is proficient in answering questions about personal loans, and the other one is about life insurance, right? So those knowledge bases can be like safely split, and then the RAG can be integrated on top of them. Kind of depends on you. So at the moment, it's more proficient in single agent experiences with heavy focus on the orchestration and kind of voice part of the things. And if you want to have some advanced, let's say, knowledge base, then you need to use this custom LM functionality where you can integrate it wherever you want. You give us endpoint and you produce the answer, and how do you produce the answer is completely up to you. But going forward, it's very good to be like, stay tuned, like, in weeks to come. We will have some advanced knowledge base structuring and retrieval for sure.
Fantastic. We have a couple more questions, but maybe we should proceed to
I can proceed, and then we can take it again. So in our next demo, I want to show more of our tool calling functionality and how you can use the agent itself in different, let's call it, formats. And in our second functionality, so this is my personal calendar, and you can see like it's a bit busy tomorrow, and we will be demonstrating a case where we define this agent to handle calls as a personal assistant and also able to make some bookings in real life. And how we configure this agent itself is, first we are providing first message as usual, and we have a system prompt where it's described this is the Hikmet's receptionist, and like people are calling to book a time, and we define 2 functions to system prompt. The first one is the get available slots. Basically, LLM understands to use this function when it needs to get the available slots, and we have a book meeting function where it uses this function to book a call actually, and it also understands it needs to get the full name and how long they want to meet and the email addresses. And to arrange this function calling, tool calling, you can click on add a tool, and how it's going to look like is we are using the call.com example in this case. First, you are defining your tool name and give a description of what it's going to do, and also the REST API call in here with the URL. And you can add the different headers, call API version, content type, and you can also pass your API token, in this case, there for making the calls to call.com. Together with it, you can also add some query parameters. We are passing here start type, start time, end time, and event type ID. And very similarly for the book meeting, you will see it's a post request to call.com for booking a meeting. And we are able to actually pass a specific objects here, which will be the attendee object. And this will require some attendee in like time zones, email, name, and etc. And just to see this in live demo, I need to share just the tab so you can get the voice, otherwise the voice is not transferred.
Thanks for calling. I am Hikmet's scheduling agent. How can I help?
Hey, does Hikmet have some free time tomorrow morning? Okay.
Hikmet is available tomorrow morning at 9:30, 11 o'clock, and 11:30. Would you like to book a meeting at any of these times?
Actually, does Hikmet have availability at 2 p.m. tomorrow?
Hikmet is not available at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Would you like to choose another time, or should I check availability for a different day?
The morning times doesn't work. What are the available times for the afternoon tomorrow?
Hikmet is available tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and 4:30. Would you like to book a meeting at any of these times?
We can book a meeting at 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Great. Could you please provide your full name and email address to complete the booking for 4 o'clock tomorrow?
Yes, my full name is Hikmet Demir, and email address is john@gmail.com.
Your meeting with Hikmet is successfully booked for tomorrow at 4 o'clock. You can join the meeting using this link, meet.google.com MVI IQJHDFJ HTTPS meet.google.com MVI IQJHDFJ.
Thank you very much.
If you have any other questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
So that's the demo. And just to show you how it's actually booking, let me share the entire screen again. So as you can see in here, it actually checked my schedule and it says, okay, Hikmet is free at 1 to 1:30 and 3 to 3:30 and 4 to 4:30. And I was saying like, don't book anything after 5 p.m. Similarly, when we ask for the morning slots, it gives the 9:30, 11 and 11:30. And if we actually check how the conversation looked like and how did it work in the background, you can actually again see the entire conversation and transcript similarly. And if you go to the transcription, you will actually see which tools are called with which parameters, and you will be able to see the slots it returned. So when it's answering me, it understands, okay, there's a 9:30 empty spots, 11 and 11:30, and that's how it understands and returns to me. Similarly, when I ask about the 2 p.m. specifically, it asks for the 2 p.m., but there's no slot available at 2 p.m. And finally, when I ask for 4 p.m. booking, it actually calls the booking function. First, of course, it's asking my name and the email addresses and books the call. And as we can see here, actually, it booked the call together with the John at Gmail. And this is the meeting invite link where it was saying to me, together with the name, surname, and the email addresses. You can use these kind of examples not just as a personal assistant, but you can actually use it as in your e-commerce websites, or you can use it for making outbound sales calls, inbound sales calls. You can use it to maybe redirect call to another salesperson. There is quite a bit of things you can do, and like the imagination is the limit here, but we provide the entire functionality here. And as you can see, like it was very good at pronunciation my name. Hikmet is not a Turkish, it's not an English name, and it's able to understand how it's going to pronounce and like also dictate it, because you are able to pass different keywords in here to make sure the speech to text part is working perfectly. And for the text to speech part, you can also pass pronunciation dictionaries if you have a specific word and if you want them to be pronounced in a specific way. Together with this, all of the things we showed here over the UI is available and achievable over our SDKs. We are providing both Python SDK, React, JavaScript, and iOS SDK. Together with the provided direct WebSocket connection in here. And we have detailed guides on how to start in our documentation page. And now I think we can take some questions.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for that. By the way, I'm still waiting for the guide on how I can build my own receptionist Hikmet. I think that's going to be very helpful. Yeah. So we have a question from Bilal. So can the voice be set per conversation rather than per agent? And essentially, how many agents can be created?
Yes. So you can override per conversation the voice you want to use, voice ID, the language which is going to answer the first message, and the system prompt. And as Jozef mentioned, we will be also bringing the dynamic prompting. So you will be just being able to add or remove a couple of variables when you're making the conversation.
Fantastic.
And maybe I can just very quickly actually show where you can find it in the docs. Maybe then someone can. So where you go to the docs, you basically click here this dynamic conversation, or just like Hikmet mentioned. And then basically here are the overrides. So you define what are the overrides for this conversation that you are starting. So for example, the customer bank account balance is da da da. They are based in da 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 location. You can override the prompt da da da. But to answer your question, you can also exactly override the voice ID which should be used for this call.
Awesome. I think sort of related to this, a question from Akshay, considering that we can provide a single prompt, have we observed any hallucinations? So with some complex use cases, it might be that the instructions can actually confuse the LLM.
I can take this. So basically, hallucinations, of course, happens in all of the LLMs, but like what we are providing here is the entire functionality, end-to-end voice in, voice out. And in our audio generation and the speech-to-text generation, we are quite stable. Depending on what kind of LLM you are using, you can be more stable or less stable, let's call it. So far, we see in all of the big models and from the big providers, they are quite stable. And we will have also release some guidelines around how to make strong prompting to make sure like the hallucination is less or like not happening, to put some guardrails over there.
Fantastic. A question from Paulo. Is it possible to connect the agent to, let's say, an instant messaging application like WhatsApp for exchanging these messages via, well, voice message?
Joseph, you want to take it or you want me to answer?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, this is actually this is what people also ask our docs agent. You would know this exact question, WhatsApp question. So here we deployed our own Conversation AI on our docs page, so you can ask for help on docs, but it's a little bit slow because it has really a lot of data. But basically, the answer, what already people were asking, this agent is to use the business WhatsApp Business API. So basically, you need to use the Python SDK. So our Python SDK, which will receive from the WhatsApp Business API, you will receive the audio from the call. You will forward it to us via this Python SDK. And then when we send you audio back, that should be played to the user. You then forward that part back to the WhatsApp Business API.
Yeah, just to show you how it's going to work out also, basically, if you check our Python SDK in here, we detailed how to use it specifically, and you will see the conversation start and etc. And even if you want to go more bare bone, we also provide direct WebSocket connection, and you can redirect audio in, audio part from this WebSocket. And these are the 5 different events we will be returning with the WebSocket. Yeah.
Fantastic. Josh asks, can the AI speech rate be adjusted? Potentially some of the older users might struggle keeping up with the faster speech.
You want to take this, Bogdan, or you want me to answer?
I mean, I can take it. So at the moment, this is voice dependent. We don't have quite yet a way to change the rate of speaking. So I would say it is something that is coming likely next year, but stay tuned.
Yeah, one couple of suggestion here, we have I think over 3,000 voices at this point in the voice library. We have fast voice speakers, slow speakers, native, and etc. I think there is a voice for every use case pretty much. On top of that, you can also bring your own voice with the professional voice clones, PVCs, and we are also supporting PVCs in the Conversational AI.
And I can see we have a couple of questions around the voices themselves. So basically, can we, Andrew asks, can we use custom voices for the agents? Another user asked if it's possible to use your own voice as an instant voice clone to power an agent.
Yeah, we generally suggest using either the default voices or the professional voice clones because they have a higher quality and the processing times in the inference is a bit faster. However, instance voice clones we allow IVCs to use as well, but we are suggesting the PVCs.
Perfect. Another one from Akshay. I'm more interested in latency as it is the biggest blocker. So what is the average latency, in this case, including telephony time? Can you guys give kind of a breakdown of STT, LLM, TTS, and telephony time?
Joseph, you want to take it or you want me to take it?
Sure, you can maybe then add a little bit on the telephony part. So generally speaking, once we recognize that the user is expecting an answer, and we start to generate the answer, including of the transcription, including of all the turn logic, including the LLM streaming, including the TTS streaming. It's around 900 milliseconds. When you add the silence that you need to recognize that the user kind of is expecting an answer, you get to around 1.2, 1.3 seconds. We are kind of like some improvements on the significant improvements on the TTS part are coming, which will cut this down by 100 or 200 milliseconds, hopefully. And so that's kind of generic latency where you stand. Then when you want to use the telephony, you need to add the kind of the audio for forwarding part, but now we will have the native solution. So basically then it's just like kind of like how much latency is added on if you use Twilio, and the Twilio is only based, let's say, in US servers, and then the caller calls from some Asia or something, and it needs to go first to Twilio, and then from Twilio to us, and then from us to Twilio, and then from Twilio to them. It may add a little bit, but if let's say the caller is in the US, I think it should be actually pretty good.
Yeah, we tested. Yeah, we tested this couple of in ourselves and also with the clients. Overall, the Twilio added latency will be maybe like 100 millisecond or 150 millisecond, let's call it. This is mostly caused by the Twilio and the network latency, but overall experience is still smooth and realistic, I would call. And everything included, we are still around like 1 second benchmark, or like maybe 1.4 second benchmark, which is like, and this is just to say, as Jozef mentioned, like the moment you stop speaking, the moment agent starts speaks again. So this is like literally silence to speak.
Thank you for that. Related to what you mentioned, the kind of the aspect of realism, Josh is asking if there is a way to incorporate background noises such as a call center ambiance, or just make it feel a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, this is something we are also working on adding natively, but currently you are able to do this very easily. So we are providing the WebSocket connection both ways, basically, and this WebSocket connection you can easily override or add another audio part in this WebSocket connection just to play a background noise in loop, basically. Like we will put a guide for this out soon as well. This is some of our clients are doing.
Fantastic. And then two questions slightly related. So one is it possible to do bulk calls? And the flip side of that is there a way to prevent spam? Basically, if a competitor is booking, let's say, hundreds of meetings with your employees.
Jozef, you want to take this?
Yes. So bulk calls, do you mean like I guess that's outbound calls, right? So for outbound calls, I mean, the only problem there is that, like, depending on where you are located, like there are different kind of legal obstructions that you need to say. Like if let's say it's a user who filled in some form and then they tick that the AI agent will call them back, it's probably okay. If they didn't explicitly say that, it's likely not okay, at least in the US. So there's this problem there. But then you should also kind of like in the first message, if you call someone, like say that this is an AI calling or stuff like that. But in general, it's not like it's not kind of a big issue. Like the only difference between an incoming call and an outgoing call is that when you do an outgoing call, the user starts to speak first because they pick up, they say hello. So there you should just set the first message empty. Then the agent will expect for the user to speak, and you can say, for example, in prompt that after you receive the initial message, respond that, hey, I am XX calling from YY, and are you interested in ZZ? And we may probably provide some native functionality in the future where you upload some numbers and we can like do those calls for you. But yeah, in the meantime, actually, Hikmet, do you know what's the best strategy to actually initiate those calls?
Okay, it's basically in here we also have our AI safety and regulation teams internally, and we are actively monitoring and checking. So, like, of course, like general terms of conditions for the ElevenLabs applied to conversational AI as well. So any misuse or malpractice, we will be having actions on top of that. together with this, we provide the functionality in this case, but like regulations and the laws are changing from country to country. It's best to work with your own legal counsel internally, I guess.
Perfect. And on the spam,
and also and just to add on the limits per agent. Yeah, this is something. So we have limits. We have some limits like per IP and so on. If somebody would want to do some like advanced, misuse, we should definitely support some kind of maximum number of concurrent calls per agent.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I believe Akshay is talking about 50,000 calls per day in his specific scenario. So maybe it's something that we can also take offline.
Yeah, we can take it offline definitely. But as Jozef mentioned, we have the concurrency and rate limits, and these limits are like increasing, decreasing depending on the enterprise agreements, basically. Yeah.
Perfect. And when it comes to spam prevention. Yeah, let me just remind you guys, is there any way to prevent spam? So, for example, a competitor booking hundreds of meetings with your employees.
So like what we are providing right now is the entire conversation AI functionality, let's call it. And this functionality can be used for different purposes. Like if we detect there's a spam usage, we will of course take an action on this, but we are not actively, let's call it monitoring or checking like what each implementation is currently doing, so to say. And like, yeah, for each call, users needs to like work, like basically like run with us and like basically spend money on with us and etc. It's not very easy to do this, and like we suggest like if you are doing this on your side, you can also put rate limits on your implementation.
Roger that. Okay, so let's see. We have a couple of additional questions here. So Tao is asking, is it possible to deploy my own fine-tuned model? I suspect he's referring to an LLM model.
Yes, definitely. And currently we are supporting, I can also show this very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So how you are going to do is basically if you go to our web page, in your documentation, you will see integrate your own model. This is specifically, first of all, if you want to just use the custom model, but bring your own key, this is very straightforward. If you want to deploy your own custom LLM server, we have a simple server case in here just to run it. And then what you will need to do is configure that server endpoint, basically where we need to make API end calls together with your API key. You can still arrange the temperature and the token usage and etc. And on top of this, you are also able to pass additional parameters to your LLM. So let's say you want to pass some specific user IDs or some hash IDs or something like that. You are able to pass this information to LLM. And when the conversation is happening, we will echo back these responses, so to say, and you will be able to see in your response, LLM response, the ElevenLabs extra bodies.
Perfect. Okay. I don't think we have any more questions. Let me just check the chat. Maybe a couple of people have asked it there. Yeah, Ferreira Christian is asking, how can I integrate my tools, like functions that I created in a repo?
Sure. We also have as I showed in the calendar example, it's very similar how we are doing in the calendar example. We ask you to provide basically an API endpoint where your tool is located. And basically we make a call and we define that endpoint when it's going to need to be hit. And also we have a detailed example on our documentation again about how to set this up. We both support external tool calling and the client functions as well.
Fantastic. Okay. I don't believe we have any more questions. So thank you both ever so much for this presentation.
Maybe just one more thing, Bogdan, before we close it up. That also you can in our docs you can find our Discord channel, so you can also feel free to join the Discord channel. There is a conversational AI thread. We check it regularly. If you have any technical problem or issue, you can report there, and we are very active and try to resolve the issues. And you can also connect with Bogdan and with the team to have any kind of like a more custom enterprise solutions or personalized approach. In general, we are super happy when you break our products. Like please do so. We hope it's actually not possible, but if so, we are generally very active and we want you to be successful with the products that we deploy. And we are super happy to receive any feedback on any feature requests, and if they're reasonable, they will get deployed.
Stole the words out of my mouth, Jozef. So yes, once more, please play around with it, read the documentation, ask questions, reach out to us, and thank you ever so much for your time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.